Rants on the Better Sports Network. What is going on, everybody? Somebody has a case of the Monday. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. And well, Bob's your own. Rants on the Street with Thomas Stevens. Shout out to my producer, Tyler Soto. Boom. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Rants. That's right. The first Monday Night Rants of the NFL season. Now, what a wild NFL week one. Wild. One of the wildest I could remember in the last decade or so. We had major injuries. We had major upsets. We had teams that we thought they were going to be better. Not so good. We had surprise inactives. T. Higgins. Christian McCaffrey tonight. Christian McCaffrey. How many out there got screwed over the Christian McCaffrey inactive? All the reports said McCaffrey, good to go, 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 not good to go, inactive. I know it screwed me over in one league. And, yeah, should have handcuffed with Jordan Mason, but I did not because I have a pretty deep running back room in that league. So I didn't feel the need to handcuff. Wish I had done so. However, I still have Garrett Wilson. So if Garrett Wilson, who's off to a good start tonight, can get me 15, 16 points, I think I will still win without McCaffrey getting a single point. And news is that McCaffrey will miss next week as well. So all you McCaffrey owners out there, just think about that. He potentially, most likely, will also miss next Sunday. Whew, not what you want from your first overall pick in the draft. Crazy. But what a show we have for you tonight. We're going to be doing winners and losers. Case of the Mondays is back, baby. Case of the Mondays is back. Who has a case of the Mondays today? You could probably guess a few of them if you had to. They rhyme with the Coup Cork Pirates. Oh, those uniforms were so bad. They are bad. I'm sorry. Those Giants uniforms were bad. They looked terrible. It looked like they had no pants on at times because the pants were like tan. And they looked like the Montreal Canadiens with the helmet of the Delaware football team. It was bizarre. Bizarrely gross. Joining me tonight, Heavy T is off. So he will, poor guy, diehard Falcons fan, all the hype, everything for him. And he went ghost on me yesterday during the Falcons game. I don't blame Heavy T, though. It's a rough loss. But joining me is Matt Selz, who has something interesting to say about Kirk Cousins and the way he played yesterday that could explain what happened. Bizarre yesterday. And I'm going to be talking about here shortly some stats that happened yesterday that are some first we've ever seen. That is crazy in the world of the NFL. So it's going to be a great show tonight. At the very end of the show, we'll go over the college football top 25, what I liked and what I did over the college football weekend as well. It's football season. We're back, baby. We are back. Well, without further ado, though, like we do every week, let's jump into the rant lines. Rant lines. That's right. You hate it. You love it. Injury news first. The crazy week one. Crazy injury news. Josh Allen hurt his hand. Let me move over here. Josh Allen did hurt his hand. He's cleared to practice. They play Thursday, the Bills. It looks like he will be okay. I wouldn't be too worried about Josh Allen's hand at all. Lamar Jackson did miss practice today. Nobody knows why. Is it an injury? We don't know. I don't think so. He did miss practice, so just keep an eye on the injury report. I think he'll be okay. Jordan Love, that's the big one. By the way, everybody on Twitter now is a fantasy doctor. Everybody is a fantasy doctor. When the injury happens, everyone said, looks like a torn ACL or a high ankle sprain. He's going to miss the year. Oh, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. Everybody was a doctor. Stop it. You're not doctors. The only people who actually know, the actual doctors who actually get a chance to give him an MRI, you're not that. You're at home behind a screen. Stop it. My timeline is flooded with fake fantasy doctors now, and I hate it. Jordan Love's going to be out about 3 to 4 weeks, people. 3 to 4 weeks. Sprained MCL. Malik Willis is your backup there. That is scary. If I am LaFleur and the Packers, I am calling Ryan Tannehill tonight, right yesterday, and saying, what you doing, Ryan? We could use you. Because Malik Willis, we've seen what he can do, and it's not a lot at all. At all. No big running back injuries, really, this weekend. That's a surprise. Normally, we always see one big running back go down. The only injury I saw was the Kenneth Walker with his abdomen, and he looked good on the field. He had a great day for the Seahawks, and he said he's good. So wouldn't worry about that there. Puka Nacua, that's the big one. He re-aggravated his PCL, the same injury he was kind of nursing in the preseason. He will miss at least 5 weeks because he was put on the injured reserve to return list. Ouch. Ouch. Demarcus Robinson will be a waiver wire darling, I would say, for your fantasy leagues. Also, I think they have Ty Johnson too. So, or one of the Johnsons. It's Robinson, people. But Cooper Kupp, when healthy, showed once again why he is one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers in the league. Absolutely dominating the target share there. And, but yeah, for your Puka drafters, remember I said this when we did our guillotine draft. I'm staying away from Puka. I'd rather have Kupp. Turns out I was right. The injury scared me, and where he was going, there's no value there. Jordan Addison for the Minnesota Vikings. He is an ankle injury. It's the same ankle he's been dealing with in the preseason. I think he'll play in week 2. Maybe not, but I'm not too worried about it anyways. If you're having to start Addison right now with no buys, you're in trouble, your team. So leave it at that. Roma Dunze hurt. The whole Bears offense passing game was rough. We'll more on that later. Looks like that Odunze, it's his knee. He's getting an MRI. We don't have final conclusion, but it looks like he will probably miss some time. Bad week for tight ends. David Njoku, he injured his ankle, did not look good. It's a high ankle sprain. He will miss some time. We probably won't be seeing him till at least week 5. Another big one was Jake Ferguson, my boy, who I have in 5 leagues. Now, it looked bad. Sprained MCL, but McCarthy says he'll be working to return to practice as soon as Wednesday. So that's crazy. So Jake Ferguson, keep an update on it. But if he does play, you're probably looking at limited snaps, and which is sad because I had high hopes for him. That is for sure. So not too bad for a week 1 injury. Not too bad at all. Let's go over some crazy stats. These crazy stats that happened over week 1. 3 teams came back to win despite trailing by at least 14 points during the game. The Bears, the Bills, and the Dolphins. It's the first time in 45 years that 3 teams have come back from at least 2 touchdowns during the opening week of the season. Now, the Bears, even more interesting, they're the only team ever to do it without scoring a touchdown. That's right. That is something. Speaking of the Bears, the Droughts, Caleb Williams is the first number 1 overall pick to win his debut since 2002. That's right. 2002. However, he was 14 of 29 for 93 yards, making him the second quarterback in NFL history to throw at least 25 passes in his debut for under 100 yards. Now, do you want to know who that other quarterback is? You want to know who the other quarterback is? It's Desmond Ridder. I'm not saying Williams is going to be Ridder. I think Williams will be better. But it's just funny. And the Bears still making crazy stats yesterday. Pittsburgh and Chicago both won without scoring an offensive touchdown, making the first time in 13 years that multiple teams won during the same week without scoring an offensive TD. The last time it happened, 2011 in week 7, the Browns and the Jaguars. It's crazy. The NFL's 30 kickers combined to hit 19 field goals from at least 50 yards yesterday, which is the new NFL record for a single week. Chris Boswell and Fairbairn both hit 3 field goals from beyond 50, making the first time in NFL history that 2 kickers did that the same week. It's kicker season, baby. It's kicker season. Speaking of kicker season, the Bengals punter also set an NFL record. If you watch that game, ouch. Bengals, ouch. Ryan Reckel punted 4 times for 258 yards, which is an average of 64.5 yards per punt. That's the highest gross punting average in a game in NFL history for a punter who had at least 4 kicks. His largest punt with 80 yards, which set the Bengals franchise record. He was the weapon that the Bengals didn't know they needed yesterday. They still lost. The Bengals lost so bad, they lost to Gerard Mayo. That's right, New England. Everyone thought New England would be a shoo-in for the number 1 pick. Looks like that's going to be Carolina again. More on that later. Gerard Mayo became the first Patriots coach to win his debut game since 1991 and became the first coach since 2010 to be an underdog of 7 points or more in his debut game and still win. The last one, the Cowboys' Jason Garrett. So there you have it. There you have it. Some stats here. Oh, the Broncos had one too, by the way. You saw the Broncos recorded 2 safeties against the Seahawks. The first team in 7 years to record multiple safeties in the same game. They also did just the 3rd team in NFL history to record multiple safeties in week 1. And if you want some Deshaun Watson stats, who's now in the news again because a new lawsuit has come out against him. Well, he went 0 for 10 on throws that traveled 15 air yards or more on Sunday, which is the worst zero completion showing of deep throws by any quarterback since they were first tracked in 2006. That's right. Deshaun Watson had a historical, terrible day. I wonder what was on his mind. And also Brandon Aubrey, he could have tied for longest field goal. He did hit a 66-yarder. However, a penalty called it back. And then he was going to try a 71-yarder, but Mike McCarthy decided, nah, we'll do the offense and move forward. So a lot of crazy stuff happening yesterday, and we have our winners and we have our losers. Start with the winners first. Let me pull up my chart here. This is pretty simple. Derek Carr and the Saints were a winner. Now, the Panthers looked like dog crap. It seems like they're also going to be dog crap again this year. Bryce Young looked terrible. I know it's still young, but we have to start thinking that Bryce Young is going to be one of those overall number one picks that could end up being in the Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell categories. It's not looking good. He's very inaccurate. He's undersized for a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, I know Kyler Murray is too, but Kyler Murray is good with his legs, a lot better with his legs than Bryce Young has shown so far. But this is about the winners. The winners are the Saints. They looked really good. Rashid Shaheed, who was my sleeper, looked really good. Catch a long pass from Carr. Carr looks rejuvenated. The defense looks good. I know it's the Panthers. I get it. And Olave is going to have more to offer, but one of my big winners, the Saints. Why not? They're in first place in the division. I know. Week 1. Another big winner. Let's just say Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans, huh? Joe Mixon looked absolutely unstoppable, making what I thought was a weird trade at the time a great one. And this is a Houston Texans team who has not had a good rush attack in over 5 years. Joe Mixon looked great. Stephon Diggs looked great. The Houston Texans a big winner. With all that hype and everything, you come up there and you just put it on against the Colts, who also looked pretty good. Anthony Richardson looked pretty decent. They put it on it. Made it happen. So you got to love it. Let's give the Chargers some credit. Big winners as well. J.K. Dobbins. When J.K. Dobbins plays football, when he's not hurt, he is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Stats prove it. Fantasy points per carry, when he's healthy, is one of the best in the league. Showed it again yesterday. They had that 1-2 attack. Now, how many games will J.K. Dobbins play? I don't know. Because he has that injury history. But the Chargers look good. Big win for Harbaugh. Harbaugh, all they do is win no matter what. I don't think the Raiders are that much of a slouch team, by the way. Their defense has really improved. Great pass rush. Samir White showed he cannot handle the backfield completely. Obviously, Alexander Madison is going to be one of the top waiver wire pickups this week, and he better be. Because it looks like it's going to be a split there with Madison and White. And also, Madison can catch the ball to the backfield, something that White can't do. So the Chargers, big winners. And then I'm going to say it, shout out to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are big winners as well, because they absolutely dismantled a Browns team who I was not high on. I thought last year was a fluke. I don't think Deshaun Watson is the same Deshaun Watson before the injury and all of this legal drama. Their defense is great, but their offense without Chubb just cannot keep up with teams. And they're not going to keep up with teams. They're not going to the playoffs. There's no way the Browns are going to the playoffs. And we got to give a shout out to the Miami Dolphins as well for coming back after that weird Tyreek Hill getting arrested, or not. Well, I guess arrested. He was handcuffed and detained. By the way, the full video of that, the police have released it. I haven't watched it yet because it just came out right before I was doing my show, but I'll check it out later. Give it a go too. But it's it's a lot of fun. And the touchdown celebration was pretty funny too. You got to admit, it was good stuff. But for every winner, there must be a loser. Look at those uniforms. Those are trash. Trash.
You are one pathetic loser.
Those uniforms are trash. The Giants, big losers. I mean, come on. Daniel Jones ain't it, bro. He ain't. And to look that bad in these bad uniforms makes it even worse. Daniel Jones, one good year going to the playoffs, but was it really a good year? The team was overall better. He wasn't great. He finished the game with 186 yards on 42 attempts, 2 interceptions, was sacked 5 times. I think Drew Lock can do better. I really think Drew Lock can do better. And I don't think we're going to see Daniel Jones finish the season as the Giants quarterback. I think Drew Lock, he was getting booed by fans as he was walking from the locker room to his car. Yeah. Not dog. Heavy tease Atlanta Falcons. Oh, my goodness. All the hype. Kirk Cousins. Pitts, who had a touchdown. Drake London, where'd you go? Where were you? The Falcons have used 3 top 10 picks on playmakers. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. And have one of the league's best offensive lines. But you would not know that if you saw them yesterday. Because they did not look like they could accomplish anything offensively. They look like the same Falcons with different jersey numbers. It was crazy. The Steelers with Justin Fields, who couldn't score a touchdown, beat you. Now, Kirk Cousins obviously coming back from a big injury, so we know that. But it wasn't a good look, and not a way you want to hype up your season by losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Justin Fields. So Steelers, I'm sorry, not the Steelers. Falcons, you're my big week 1 loser. And we've already talked about it, but I'll bring it up real quick before I bring Matt Selz in and ask him who his winners and losers are. I'm going to have some fun with him too, but we'll wait for that. The Cleveland Browns, man. The Cleveland Browns looked like they couldn't beat anybody. Deshaun Watson, like I said, could even throw the ball past 15 yards. He had 0 completions over 15 yards. Zero. Over. Again, he probably had a lot on his mind because he's getting sued again. But this is not a good team. They have a great defense. They have a good defense. A good defense nowadays in the NFL can only take you so far. Browns fans, are you missing Joe Flacco right now? Be honest. Are you missing Joe Flacco? Because I would too. Because it is sad. Good luck the rest of the season. I hope the Brownie the Elf midfield paint job does the trick. All right. We're going to bring in Matthew Selz, the salesman himself, who had a good week in the Guillotine League. We did have a Guillotine loser already. It's Pulp Friction is the one to go first. I will do a eulogy later. Sorry, Pulp. See ya. How much do I got to spend my fab on ETN? That is the question I will ask myself tomorrow when I do it. Yeah. What up, Matthew Selz?
How's it going?
It's going. Just giving my winners and losers and some crazy stats on what was a wild week 1, man.
There are some crazy stats floating out there.
It is.
The Daniel Jones ones are amazing.
Yeah. Is it time to just do it? Bring in Drew Lock? Start Drew Lock? Is it time?
I mean,
I really feel like Drew Lock can do better. Drew Lock can do better, right? Because you can't do worse than that. What we saw that yesterday, and in those horrendous jerseys too, just made it worse.
True.
It was gross.
Those were, I know they're throwbacks, but those might be the worst throwbacks I've ever seen.
They look like if the Delaware University
Blue
of
hen?
Delaware or yeah,
Yeah, the blue hen.
and the Montreal Canadiens ran full speed into each other.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll take Flacco. He used to be a Delaware Blue Hen.
He was true. He was indeed. Do you have Christian McCaffrey in any leagues?
I don't.
I got screwed.
I don't, but
I
I can
got
imagine people getting screwed. This is
screwed.
why that sleeper feature that they added this year might come in handy.
Yeah, unfortunately, the league I have been, I don't have that, and I just need, but I do have Garrett Wilson, so I will need. Looks like 5 more points in a PPR league from Garrett Wilson here, and I should be okay. 6 more points. 6 more points from Garrett Wilson, and we're down to the 2-minute warning. So hopefully it works out because I'll be very disappointed.
Well, okay, 2 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, like the lot. Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah, you have a whole nother half to get like 3 catches for 30 yards,
which is going to happen because he's
or
has
2
all
for
the
40, or
all the targets, and the
Yeah.
Jets are behind. So
they are.
there you go. How would you do in fantasy so far? How you doing? Good.
I did okay. My now home league team didn't do great. I thought it was going to go okay, but got let down by a few key guys. McBride and Kelsey didn't help at tight end. For sure. Derrick Henry, when I was watching the Chiefs game, the first drive of the Chiefs game, I was like, great, I am so glad I have Derrick Henry. The
for
rest
what
of the
has
game,
been
like,
for what on paper looked like a deep tight end year, where man, I can wait on tight. I can get Jake Ferguson later. I'm getting Njoku later. They're all bad.
well, and now Ferguson's hurt.
Yeah, so was the Njoku.
Yeah.
And it looks like Isaiah Likely's going to be a thing. In
Well, here's the
Baltimore.
thing. It doesn't really matter if Njoku's healthy because it's not like Watson's finding him anyway.
Actually, I think when Njoku went out, he was the leading receiver on the team. That's not saying much, but it was like 4 for 40 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, tight end had a really rough weekend. Well, in general, I can't think of a tight end who like did
other than Likely.
Yeah, but no one was starting Likely, right?
Yeah, I mean, most likely.
Yeah, I guess Evan Ingram had a pretty decent day, didn't he? I think he scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's one. All right.
Gesicki almost had a touchdown and then he didn't because it was somehow incomplete.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. Yeah, that game was wild. Who were your big winners, or you thought which teams or players you saw or anything that stood out? You're like, man, I'm surprised. This is great. It looks good for the season. Like what were your positive takes from yesterday? Because there's a lot of negatives, but what are the positives?
Yeah. The positives are the Bears defense can carry Caleb Williams even when he's
yeah.
That was not good. I know Bears fans are hyped. I know everybody thinks he might be the thing. I'm a little more hesitant on Caleb Williams.
I'm not. I don't think he's going to be like, Patrick Mahomes or
I mean, that's the comp he's getting coming out of college.
No, never. But he's going to be a serviceable starting quarterback in the NFL. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a really good starting quarterback too. He looked really good.
They need to stop having him rush 16 times a game.
Who, Jaden Dan? Yeah, no, bring it on, baby. Hey,
bring
it on.
The most RG3 ever rushed in a single game for Washington was 13 carries.
Yeah, I'll take it though.
And if Jaden Daniels has 16 carries a game for the entire season
and 2 rushing touchdowns and 80 I'll take it.
He will break Lamar's record for most rushes by a quarterback in a season by almost 100 rushes. Lamar's record is 176. If Jaden Daniels carries it 16 times a game, he'll get to 272.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, speaking of that, in that game was a very disappointment to me too. I have him in almost every league. He didn't get his first catch till the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And he ended up with 2 catches. Yeah.
They had him pretty well locked up. I think the Bucks are pretty big winners.
Yeah. A lot of people kind of thought that maybe that would be
I don't know why we soured on the team that won the division last year when nobody got markedly, but I know Atlanta added Kirk Cousins, but the defense was the question, and their second pick was inactive yesterday.
Yeah. Their defense got better though. They added some good free agents over the the process. So I think they got.
Yeah, I mean they added Judon and what Simmons.
I don't think the Falcons' defense was not the problem.
No,
The
the
problem with the
offense-
Falcons is they looked like the same Atlanta Falcons, just with a different jersey number at quarterback.
Yeah, they also look like Kirk Cousins is not healthy. I sent you a video earlier
yes.
where on 3rd and 15, where he's got to drive the ball down the field, there's no pressure in the pocket. He has a remarkably clean, perfectly formed pocket, and he doesn't plant and drive off his right leg, which he should as a right-handed quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of lets it flop around like he doesn't trust it or doesn't want to put any weight on it or whatnot.
Okay,
So,
and that's interesting. So explain that a little more. So he's coming off that injury, which is the
Yes.
same injury that Aaron Rodgers had, right? But Aaron
Correct.
Rodgers had it a few weeks earlier than he did.
Yeah. Several? Was it?
It was like 7 or 8 weeks earlier.
It was just
Um,
before the trade deadline because the Falcons were able to trade for.
Yeah, and to be honest, Aaron Rodgers looks
Wow.
fine tonight. He
It's
looks
the
like Aaron
playoff mode,
Rodgers.
man.
He looks like Aaron. Yes, it's the witchcraft healing, right, or whatever he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Kirk Cousins, you noticed it too, and you even said something to Heavy T about this in the previous show. He's still playing kind of hurt, or
Yes.
not hurt, but he's in his own head, not trusting it.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed yesterday. And like you said, you showed me that video. Said, "See, I told you." And I was like, "Yeah, wow." He did not put any pressure on that back foot, which he needed to get the ball 20 yards downfield.
Yeah. He's still injured, which isn't a shock. He's a mid-30s guy coming off of a torn Achilles to his
Great
right
smile,
leg.
though. Great smile and great attitude.
Well, I'd be that happy too if I got all that
Yeah,
guaranteed money for
yeah.
basically nothing.
Telling me.
So I still think there's a reason why they drafted Penix. I don't think that they think that Cousins is 100% healthy.
Mhm.
So we'll see. But their offense was not great. Our colleague Dan Malin was at the game actually,
Oh, wow.
and he said there was 60% Steelers fans.
Wow.
And
Well,
at one point,
they're one
TJ
of the best
Watt,
traveling school or
yeah,
teams.
at
fan
one point, TJ Watt sacked Cousins
Mhm.
and then got up and like did one of these like to get louder, and the crowd got noticeably louder, like it was a home crowd reacting to.
Well, the Chargers-Raiders game was the same way, and that was probably about
Yeah.
80% Raiders fans.
Well, okay, but if you're playing in Vegas as a tourist destination, so you
Well,
know
it was in
people-
LA, but so
Well,
the
that's
game.
also true. I
Yeah.
mean, that's fair. That's true.
Let's talk about the Cowboys because they were winners for me because all this speculation over the offseason with Dak and
I mean,
CD.
Let's hold on. I'm not going to call them winners just yet.
Okay, do you think that
They looked offensively good. I think the defense got bailed out because the Browns' offense was so tremendously bad
Yeah,
that I don't know if we know enough about the Cowboys.
I
yet.
agree. And it's weird seeing Ezekiel Elliott get touchdowns for them. That was odd. But Brandon Cooks, when he's healthy, man, he's still a good number 2. But Dak Prescott's contract. Do you feel that it was just a Jerry Jones? Okay, do it.
Probably.
Because
I mean, why wait that long if you're going to give him that contract?
Yeah, because we're talking about a quarterback. We're talking about a quarterback who, under any type of pressure in a pressure game situation in the playoffs, or just never performs, ever. His entire career, even in college, he didn't perform in pressure game situations at Mississippi State.
Correct.
And yet you just made him the highest paid NFL player ever. Now, I understand the quarterback market's different. We're talking about Jordan Love too, right?
I mean, Purdy's next up. He may be the highest paid Bay Area athlete. He may eclipse Steph Curry's $62.5 million 1-year extension.
See, I feel like they should have just not done that and just let this year play out and look for a different option at quarterback. But that's just me. I'm not a Dak fan.
So I was talking about this with my sports loving wife earlier. Yes, she is a massive sports fan. Like,
hell yeah,
watches everything. Like, we went to went to Chicago a few weeks ago because she wanted to watch the Diamondbacks play at Wrigley, like in person. That's her team. So like we went and saw a whole series.
Kitty agrees.
She is a sports loving wife, and she couldn't. Yeah, my cat is making an appearance. Hello, Penny.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Penny.
She's like, I don't understand why these contracts are getting doled out to these quarterbacks. Like, if you look at the guys
It's the
who
market.
are at the top of the quarterback market, they haven't done anything.
Yeah. None of them in the top 10 have ever won a Super Bowl.
Right. Only about half have won playoff games.
And if you look at, and the playoff record is also under 500 combined from
Right.
all of them.
And I was like, well, part of it is that it's such an important position that if you feel like you have a guy who
Mhm.
can kind of keep you in games, you have to pay him like he's a can't miss guy. Because the penalty for not having that guy is picking in the top 4 in the
Yeah,
draft
but
every year.
looking at the guys though in this list, they're all still young. Dak is
Yeah.
not young anymore. He's not.
I mean, but quarterback also has longevity that other positions don't.
And when he had that bad injury, he stopped running the ball completely. He's completely a pocket passer now.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that's. I mean, he was in the running for the MVP last year, not being a running quarterback.
I know. I get it.
And
But
it's not like the offense is. I mean, yes, in crunch time, the offense has been bad under Dak, but the offense is not what we're worried about with Dallas, generally speaking. They were one of the best scoring offenses in the league last year. It's the rebuilt offensive line that we have questions about. It's the
running
defense.
game for sure.
Yeah, because you got Deuce Vaughn and Rico Dowdle and a busted Ezekiel Elliott. Like,
Yeah. Elliott had 10 carries for 40 yards, so 4 yards average plus the touchdown, a long of 9 though. Dowdle 8 for 26, long of 10. CeeDee Lamb was your third rusher with 3 for 25 with a long of 12. And then you had Brandon Cooks, and then you got Vaughn. So the rushing game there is weak. Now, I know it's a really good rush defense with the Browns, but
yeah. So I
opposite.
say all this to say let's wait until the Cowboys actually play a competent offense to see, because I don't know that their offense was all that impressive as a whole.
It was a little boring. I'm not gonna lie. It
Yeah.
was a little boring.
I mean, there was enough to board Tom Brady in the booth because he sounded like he was
Oh my God.
bored.
Okay.
The
Tom
stuff
Brady.
he was saying
Was
was
it good?
fine, but like he sounded bored.
His voice sounds weird to me.
It does. It does. That was the first I was like, sir, why you
At least like when
sound like
Tony
you
Romo
swallowed
started, like Tony Romo when he started, it sounded like, okay, cool. He's like, it just sounds like a guy talking football in his garage with Tom Brady. It's weird. The Cowboys host the Saints next week, so that should be an interesting match.
Yeah, although I don't think the Saints are nearly as good as. I mean,
No,
I think the Panthers are that bad.
The Panthers are just that bad. Yeah, no,
But
I will 100%
they got
give you that.
a serious injury too as well today. So
Who did the Panthers or the
yeah, along their defensive line, I think one of their linemen tore his.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I did see that.
So I would say a sneaky winner for me is the Bucks.
Yeah.
Seattle
Mayfield 4 touchdown passes, 24 of 30, 289.
Yeah, I mean he looked great. Now, granted, they were playing a rookie quarterback in his first start.
And I'm going to tell everybody right now, and I've been calling it, go pick up Bucky Irving on your waiver wires because Rashid White is not going to be.
Nope.
Bucky Irving's going to be a thing, and he was great in college, great at Oregon, and he's very good at breaking tackles. He's one of the best tackle breakers in college football last year, yards after contact. I think he was number 2 in all of college football. So that's what White kind of lacks.
Yes.
So go grab him. And also
another
Eckler.
winner?
Eckler, what the hell is going on there? What is he just done?
Like
2 rushes for 10 yards for Austin Eckler. Although he did lead in receiving. He had 4 receptions for 52 yards. But wow.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Patriots, we could consider the Patriots winners in week 1.
Yeah, I think you can as well because Cincinnati.
I mean, that offense is questionable, but the defense is clearly elite.
Yes.
Burrow looked like he was a high school quarterback again.
And he didn't have much to work with because
And Jamar Chase.
yeah, but he was limited on snaps. He had 6 receptions for 62 yards. And then you have Hudson, Irwin, and Iavasis, whatever the hell that guy's name is.
Yeah, Gesicki.
Okay.
But yeah,
And obviously Zach Moss is the clear running back leader on the team, not Chase Brown. Yeah, Chase Brown only had 3 rushes for 11 yards when Moss had 9 for 44, but they were behind a lot, forcing Burrow to throw. And he was 21 of 29, Burrow. He just had a problem throwing the ball downfield, not getting first downs, check downs. Are the Bengals in trouble? Are the Bengals in trouble?
I think so.
Okay. Even when Higgins comes back and Chase is healthy.
I think it's going to be a nail biter of a division, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-horse race, to be honest. I don't think Pittsburgh or the Browns make the playoffs. I think Baltimore and Cincinnati make the playoffs.
I think Pittsburgh may.
Nah, I'm saying it. I'm calling it. It ends this year. The streak ends this year. They're not going to be over 500.
So if they are 6-3 by week 11, I think they are fine. Have you looked at their schedule, by the way?
Yeah,
they
rough.
play no division opponents before week 12.
Yeah, and then after that, their schedule is crazy hard.
After that, all division, and then the non-division is
it's like the 49ers. Like it's crazy.
The Chiefs, the Eagles, and like
the Chiefs, the Eagles are in there. Yeah, it literally is the toughest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah, but if they are 6-3 by week 11 through their first 9 games, I think that they can hold on for a 3-4 finish down the stretch and be above 500.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I'm saying no.
I also, by the way, think the Bills are in trouble.
The Bills. You think the Bills are in trouble? I don't know. They look pretty decent. I mean, Josh Allen was doing his normal.
Josh Allen looked fine. The rest of the offense outside of Josh Allen is a question mark for
James Cook, 1971. Fine. That's normal James Cook numbers. He was involved in the passing game, 3 of 32. I'm high on Coleman. I think and then Shakir with I think Kincaid, another tight end we talked about.
Yeah.
1 for 11. They'll be fine. And dude, this Cardinals team
are one thing.
This Arizona Cardinals team is not a bad team.
No, but the numbers are one thing. But every time that game came on and you're watching it, it's like, okay, it's like a basketball team running. Okay, here's an ISO. Go see what you can do. The other 4 guys on the court don't matter. That's like Josh Allen. Every time they got into the red zone, it was only how far can Josh Allen run it on this play?
That's true. But that's kind of their game. But, okay.
Yeah.
Here's one thing that I've said on this show. And I say it all the time. Do not invest your first or second round picks in rookies. Do not do it in drafts. Do not do it, because if you drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., you're probably playing him as your wide receiver 1 or 2. Yeah, 1 catch for 4 yards. First of all, I don't trust
Kyler Murray. So,
I mean, Kyler Murray had a great day.
Except for the fact that he missed a completely wide open Marvin Harrison with literally 0 bills
that was bad. But Greg Dortch was the leading receiver with 6 receptions for 47 yards.
Okay.
So,
and Kyler had a good day?
He had a good fantasy day.
Right. But that's the thing, is that these teams are not playing fantasy. So
correct.
Josh Allen's great day for fantasy was amazing, right? Because he had a boatload of rushing yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns.
They still put up 34 points, though. I mean,
yeah, but the defense also handed them a couple.
The only team that outscored him was Tampa Bay. That was it. Like
Well, no, New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, New Orleans.
They hung 47 on them.
I forgot. I turned that game off really quick.
Scott Anthony was like, I know these touchdowns don't matter, but we show you every touchdown on red zone. So here's another one.
40. Yeah, it was crazy. Kamara looked good in that one.
Well, I mean, everybody looks good against the Panthers.
That's true. That's Olave 2 for 11, kind of a letdown there, but he'll be fine.
How did your team put up 47 points
and Olave is not even involved? Yeah. Yeah. Hill had more receptions. Taysom Hill had more receptions.
I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Again, it's the
Well, I
Panthers,
mean-
so take it with a grain of salt. Let's talk about the Chargers. Because I think of all the teams.
I would say that they're a winner.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they
I would
won,
say of
but-
all the teams this year, the Chargers are probably one of the most revamped offensively. I guess you could say
Yeah.
the Bears too. But are we just going to have to live with the fact that under Harbaugh, Justin Herbert's no longer going to put up Dan Marino type numbers?
Yes.
He was
John
very
Harbaugh-
efficient. He was very
John
efficient.
Harbaugh ran the ball 60% of the time at Michigan. I know
Yep.
that's college, but he ran it 60%
Penny,
of the time.
Penny agrees.
And then look at what he did in San Francisco, because it's not like they were throwing the ball all over the place with Kaepernick.
Well, they also, he's also not a very good passer. Justin Herbert is arguably one of the best passers
Yes,
in the
but he
league.
also doesn't have anybody to throw to.
Lad McCarkey looked pretty good.
Okay, you just talked about don't trust rookies.
In your first, if you're drafting in the first, like the 1 year where everyone was, like the 1 year where everyone was drafting Ryan Williams or whatever the hell his name is, from Ryan Matthews in the first round. I'm like, you guys are dumb. That's what I mean. Because Marvin Harrison, he's not going past the second round in fantasy drafts. You could get Lad McConkey in the 8th round.
I mean, yes, there was value on the Chargers, but I think it's going to be more of an efficient passing game more than a volume passing game.
Looks like it.
Which I think is perfectly fine because
he hit 5 different receivers and the two running backs. Quentin Johnson was 3 for 38, but had 2 terrible drops.
yes,
Yes,
yes, he did.
Again,
he looked like at one point the hell was the guy from the Replacements?
he looked like himself from last year.
Well, yeah, but the guy from the Replacements.
Oh yeah.
The receiver who then has to go use the elephant.
Yep. He did look a lot like that, didn't he?
Who was that guy was also in 7-Up commercials.
It's true. It was bad. But the Chargers are a winner because they seem to always lose their opener every year. And this is like the first year in I don't remember how long, but that they won. And watching Harbaugh pump up Herbert like that at the end was cool. And and it's good to see. I still have them just missing out of the playoffs, but by a game. But they're going to be competitive and hold on to the ball a lot. And I'm going to say this right now. What Staley or whoever was never able to do is take this highest paid defense in the NFL, who's very talented when healthy, and make them good. Their defense looked really, really good against the Raiders. Now, I know it's the Raiders
right
with quarterback issues, but they still have really good playmakers on the field. Brock Bowers looked actually really good.
Yes.
Adams is Devontae Adams.
Yes.
And Jacoby Myers is a really good number 2 receiver.
And Alexander Madison looked really good.
He's going to be pick Alexander Madison and Bucky Irving should be the 2 top running backs taken right away in waiver wires, no doubt. But the Chargers defense, if they stay healthy under Harbaugh and what he has going on there, they're going to give teams fits this year and be in games. They're going to be in games.
Yes.
And we're not going to have a repeat of the Raiders Chargers game from last year.
Yeah, no more 63-21.
That was one of the funnest days of my life. That's for sure. We have about 10 minutes left. I gotta do college football. You want to run down the top 25 with me real quick?
Sure.
And then we're gonna get kicked off of Instagram.
Anybody want to tell me why 6 of the top 7 are SEC teams?
Because it's the SEC.
Yeah, but every time I see them play non-con opponents, they generally lose unless you're tech.
Well, okay. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Let's bring it up here. Let me make it bigger here so everyone can see.
There you go.
Obviously, Georgia. I did not watch the Georgia-Tennessee Tech game. I'm sure you did not either.
No.
The
fact that they won by 48-3 and did not cover the spread is probably a problem.
Yeah, and Georgia has still not played a good team yet.
I mean,
so we don't know. So we don't know how good they actually are, right? How good is Texas? I think Texas is really, really good.
I think Texas is really good, to be
They
honest.
absolutely smoked Michigan, and Michigan does not have a quarterback. I get it. I'm surprised that he started that game. I thought maybe week 1, Michigan against Fresno State, I thought maybe they were just kind of throwing him out there to confuse Texas. And then, but no, they went with him, and boy, is Michigan going to have a long year.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you got your national championship in last year, because
I mean, they geared up for it last year, right? They had how many first round picks? 7, I think.
yeah.
First-round picks.
Yep.
And then they lost their coach, and
Yeah. So good luck, Michigan. They looked, but I think Texas is really good. Now,
Yeah.
Ohio State has not played anybody yet either. They moved down, which I guess is fair. Whatever. It's so early in the season because they beat Western Michigan 56-0. Ohio State also has a really
Michigan State, and the team behind you beats the number 3 ranked team or number 10 ranked team in the country.
Yeah, you're gonna see that happen. So
yeah,
that was good. Now Alabama, this is interesting here. They stay at 4. I know it says 42-16 on the scoreboard here against South Florida, but it was really close to the third quarter in this game.
Yes, it was.
And Alabama was having offensive issues in the first half. So Milroe is a good quarterback, but he has the tendency to get wild at times. And it kind of showed in that first half. So Alabama's a good team. What Keelan DeBoer has and the pressure he has is going to be interesting to see going forward when they start playing other SEC schools.
Yeah.
Do they play Tennessee this year? Because that's going to be a game, dude. Because I think Tennessee is underrated on these rankings. But that's going to be a game, Tennessee and Alabama, if they play.
They do. They play at Neyland Stadium.
Wow.
October 19th.
Wow, that's gonna be a ESPN game. College game day is gonna
plays Wisconsin this weekend.
That'll be a good test for them.
Then they play Georgia.
Oh yeah.
Then they get Vandy and South Carolina, but then they get Tennessee, Missouri, LSU.
Ooh.
And then they get Mercer, who I didn't even know had a football team, to be honest.
No, I thought they only played basketball in Mercer.
And then they get Oklahoma, and then they finish with the Iron Bowl.
That's rough. I mean, that's a rough schedule, man.
It's so it's going to be, but yes.
Yeah. That is rough. Ole Miss, obviously, we've seen Jackson Dart now. They haven't played anybody yet either. They're going to get tested, obviously, in the SEC. They're going to lose some games because that's typical Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I feel like they get a lot of high-end recruits that get drafted, but they don't do anything with them.
It's Lane Kiffin we're talking about here, people. Okay? They're going to be favored or everyone's favorite underdog of the week, and they're going to get smoked. That's how it works with Ole Miss. But Jackson Dart looks good, and he may be a Heisman candidate this year for sure. Missouri is one of those teams which a lot of people were talking about earlier preseason, but they could be a surprise team. But they're in the SEC. Right.
I think it's a little bit of bloat because they're SEC.
Yeah.
They did have a very talented transfer window.
They
did.
They
did good recruits and transfers. We'll see again what happens when they actually hit SEC play.
It's going to be interesting because I don't think they're as good as number 6 in the country.
No.
I think Tennessee, Penn State, and Oregon will beat Missouri on a neutral site.
I would think so. Yeah, I think Tennessee should be about 5th.
Correct. Tennessee, what they did was nasty. Like, they look so good. I'm not even going to try to say his name. I'm just going to call him Nico, unless you know it. Ayanuevela.
Yeah.
Dude's a stud, man. Absolute stud. Reminds me of Hendon Hooker.
Yes.
From a few years ago.
Except
before he got hurt.
Actual better passer.
Before he got hurt. Yeah. And Tennessee, man, they look good. And it's good to see that because when Tennessee football is good, college football is good, man. Love it. They should be retired, in my opinion, because everyone loved North Carolina State at the beginning of the season. Obviously, they're not as good as we thought they were. And they have quarterback issues.
Yes.
So, but Tennessee should be ranked higher. Penn State struggled with Bowling Green.
Yeah, they should drop. I don't understand this one at all.
I don't understand how they didn't drop, but Oregon dropped. Now, Boise State's a good team, okay? Boise State has I think the best running back in the country. I said
Yeah.
he was better than Ollie from Oklahoma State. I said they have the best running back in the country, and they were my pick on the college football show to be in the college football playoff as the non-power team. Boise State.
Yeah.
I know, like, they lost to Oregon, but they're going to go undefeated the rest of the way, dude. There's no one in the Mountain West that's going to beat them.
Yeah, and they only
Nobody in
lost
the
to
Mountain West
Oregon.
can stop that running back. That running back is going to go over 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And how many touchdowns do he have so far? 9?
I think
9
so.
touchdowns?
Yeah, they only lost to Oregon by 3 points, too.
Yeah. Well, Oregon kind of shot themselves in the foot because of those 2 turnovers that kind of switched the game around. Or else Oregon would have been up by 14, and then it would have kind of, they couldn't run the ball anymore because they would have to throw it, and their quarterback Madsen does not look that great. But when you got a running back that's breaking tackles and doing what he's doing, and in a Mountain West conference, that's just going to break records, dude.
Yep.
Because the Mountain West schools, like Fresno State, Sacramento State was rushing on Fresno State over the weekend. Like, and Fresno State's supposed to have one of the best defenses in the Mountain West. Air Force looked like crap over the weekend. San Diego State can't even score points. Yeah, this dude could win the Heisman as a running back. We'll see, because the quarterbacks are going to play each other out, but it was nuts. And it just sucks they had to play Oregon so early in the season. Miami looks good, but again, I want to see Miami not play Florida school who finally, after the game, decided, hey, maybe Graham's not very good at quarterback. No, we could have told you that last year. Yeah. But Miami looks pretty decent. I'm okay with it. USC again, Utah State. I want to see more out of them. Obviously, they beat LSU a few weeks ago, but why did Utah drop? Why did Utah drop?
Yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense. Baylor's a pretty decent school, and it's just, I don't understand, like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Oklahoma State, like...
Style points, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, Oklahoma State should not be 13th in the country. They barely beat Arkansas at home. Their quarterback's like our age.
Didn't they need extra overtime?
Oh yeah, double overtime. Their quarterback is literally our age. I don't get it. I think Kansas State should be higher than them. I think Oklahoma should be higher than them.
I will say that K-State escaped with a win at Tulane.
Tulane's a good team.
Yeah, but there was a tying touchdown that got called back because of offensive pass interference that could have gone either way.
It's true.
So, but that would have tied it, and then it likely would have gone to overtime. So, who knows? But I mean,
all right. I saved this for last. Should Notre Dame still be ranked? I mean, yeah, okay. I understand they beat A&M in College Station.
Yeah.
Maybe A&M wasn't as good as we thought they were going to be. They did have a lot of transfers go out last year. There was no reason
Illinois not blocked the field goal.
I don't think that field goal was going in.
I don't know. I mean,
it was a long one.
It got blocked. A 62-yarder is not an easy one, obviously. But
why is Notre Dame in a spot to have to win the game by kicking a field goal against Northern Illinois at home? Riley Leonard does not look good, right? He did not look good.
Yeah, they paid Northern Illinois $1.4 million to show up for that game.
I know. You see all the memes of them saying, coming to collect our checks, and they're like, I'm glad this happened, because the fact that Notre Dame's an independent, they go undefeated, and it was like, oh, they're undefeated, they're one of the best teams in the nation. Yeah, but who the hell they played? You know, obviously they're going to play USC later this year, but
yes,
this is going to be the reason that they don't make the college football playoff, and I thank God, because they never do well ever in the college football playoff, because they're not as good as people think they are. But even though they're undefeated, but they're not playing anybody. The hardest team they play is USC every year. So I liked it. Obviously, they're still going to be favored in the rest of their games, I would think, except the USC game, probably not now. But yeah, I think that kicked them out of the college football playoffs, even if they go undefeated the rest of the way. Well, I guess if they beat USC,
It goes
I
to
don't think they
12.
will. But did that knock them out of the college football playoffs with 12 teams?
If their only other law, let's see who the rest of their schedule has.
Hey, if you're watching on Instagram right now, we're about to be shut off because we only have our time limit. You can go to MondayNightRants.com, MondayNightRants.com on your phone and watch the rest of the show. We're really going to be on for a couple more minutes, but we're about to get kicked off of Instagram. So if you're on Instagram watching the show, go to MondayNightRants.com. Watch the rest to see what we have to say about Clemson.
Yeah. You want to know what's hilarious is that now that loss for Notre Dame counts as a ranked loss because Northern Illinois is ranked.
It's ranked. Correct. That's what I was just going to... was my... You spoiled it. I was going to bring it up.
Well, Notre Dame plays currently ranked Louisville. Okay. So they play a good chunk of ACC teams.
Yes.
Like, they got Purdue. That's not a great game.
That's Big Ten.
Yeah, I know. Miami of Ohio.
Purdue is going to have a rough year.
Stanford's ACC. How about that?
Stanford's going to have. They're rough.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Who knows?
I feel bad, dude. Stanford can't even get like 1,000 people in their stadium. It looks empty. It's crazy.
That's because they only care about sports when they're good at Stanford.
Oh, that's right.
Like, people try to tag this as, this is the ACC problem. It's like, they weren't playing an ACC team.
Me watching Jordan Mason get a rushing touchdown when I have Christian McCaffrey playing because
Yeah. So they
and obviously Northern Illinois. This was just the voters saying, "Shout out." They're not gonna. They were ranked third in their own conference in the Mid American, so I don't think they're gonna be ranked here much longer. Yeah. But shout out to them. Let's talk about Nebraska last, but before we call it a Merry Monday. Patrick Mahomes' clone.
Yeah, they call him Patrick Apartments.
I like that
because he's like a little version of Patrick Mahomes. So instead of a home, you have
and
fantastic.
I was not surprised with this outcome. I actually picked Nebraska to cover. To me, Colorado's defense is trash.
It was a lose game for me. I live, for those of you that don't know and are watching, I live in Lincoln. I'm like, I don't know, 10 minutes from the stadium, maybe less. I went to K-State when Nebraska was still in the Big 12, so we have that rivalry still, and I just don't like Nebraska fans. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just stuck in 1997, to be perfectly honest. Like, they think...
You're not wrong.
They think that every year is a national championship year for Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
The last time they were bowl eligible was 7 years ago. You know that Vanderbilt has been bowl eligible since the last time Nebraska was?
Shout out to the Commodores.
Vanderbilt, the team that's in the SEC to raise the GPA.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So I'm not the biggest fan of Nebraska, and I really dislike Colorado because now they were Big 12. When I was there, they chanted some nasty stuff.
Okay, Colorado's not a good team, man. They should have.
I also hate Coach Prime, so there's that.
They should have lost to, was it North Dakota State or South Dakota? Well, one of the Dakota States. Week 1, they got lucky.
North Dakota State, yes.
They got killed, and if you look at the rest of Colorado's schedule, they may not make a bowl game this year again, man. It's rough.
No, the Big 12 is pretty stacked. They've chosen the best time possible to come back to the Big 12.
Colorado's schedule. It's rough. So they got at Colorado State, which will be a tough game, rivalry game that's always played hard. Colorado State they did upset them last year. Yeah. Baylor, UCF was a good-looking team.
Yeah,
Kansas
on the road, by the way. So they got to go all the way down to Florida.
Kansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, who looked like poo against Syracuse the weekend, but it's okay, and Oklahoma State to finish it out. They don't get bowl eligible.
No, they've got 3 top right now. They have 3 top 14 games on their schedule and 4 top 20 games on their schedule.
Yeah, of the
And
8.
that's presuming that Kansas doesn't get ranked again because they could.
Correct.
Um,
And Baylor really gave it to Utah over the weekend too, and Utah's by far a better school than Colorado. So I don't see how they make a poll. And if
I guess the good news for them is that all 3 of those games are at Colorado,
yeah, that's true.
K-State, Utah, and
Mhm.
Oklahoma State. But like now they don't even let the band play the fight song because they're too busy playing Shadur Sanders' rap song when
So
he throws a touchdown.
Colorado does not go to a bowl game this year.
No.
Travis Hunter and Sanders and Horn are all going to the NFL draft.
What about is Shiloh draft eligible?
I don't think he's good enough though. He's not good.
I mean, he's injured now, but yeah.
Yeah. And if they don't make a bowl game, is that it for Coach Prime and Colorado? It has to be, right? 2 years and you've been that bad. I know it started off great last year, but then it really showed once Dan Lanning showed the nation how to whoop your butt, and everyone did. And you lost every game after that.
Yeah, I mean, when they won their first game against North Dakota State, it was their first win since October 17th of last year.
And they did not make a bowl game last year.
No,
Obviously.
they went 4-7.
And it looks like they're going to do the same this year.
Yeah, I don't see where the wins. I don't see where like 7 wins are coming.
It's not. It's just not. And I think after 2 years, I think Colorado has to say bye. I mean, obviously they're getting a lot of money and NIL, but once his son goes to the NFL and his BFF Hunter, what? And all the transfers they had last year leaving, they're not going to get 5 stars.
Yeah,
especially with NIL. They're not into the SEC. They're not in the Big Ten.
I mean, the Big 12 is respectable, but
not. Yeah, but you're not going to compete with those schools when it comes to recruiting, even if you're Deion Sanders.
Or if you are a fundamental coach who knows how to build relationships with kids, and you can like, build that up so you get in on the ground floor, like you spot them when they're a freshman maybe and they're good, and you keep that relationship going, and then everybody comes in at your junior year when all of a sudden you're shooting up the rankings and you're like, well, this coach was with me before I was anybody. So like that's how K-State gets a lot of their guys. They're sneaky about who they go get, and they build relationships. Coach, like Matt Rule, I saw a great comparison between like the difference between Nebraska and Colorado is that Matt Rule knows how to build a program and develop kids. Coach Prime knows how to build celebrity and social media followers. And I was like,
he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. You're no longer allowed to cover Colorado press conferences. But you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, was he spectacular at Jackson State? Yeah, I think so. I think he was actually coaching.
Yeah, but that's because he had his son and some 5-star recruits go over there with him where they were playing high school
who
teams.
Were flat out better.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that across the board, and they don't gel because all of them come from transfers. And then there's a whole bunch of new coaches like Warren Sapp on his coaching staff. And like it doesn't.
Can we mention how bad their offensive line is?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's atrocious.
It's bad. Anyways, man, we got to call it a merry day because we are past the hour. We are off of Instagram. We're still on YouTube, though, MondayRants.com. Better Network, Twitter as well. 49ers 23, Jets 7. I still have not gotten any more points from Garrett Wilson. A little nervous, but we'll let everyone go and watch the end of the game.
45-year-old Aaron Rodgers might be a little bit past his prime.
He is 8 for 13, 76 yards and an interception. The only receivers to catch a ball is Wilson and a Hall. That is it. Jennings is the leading receiver for the 49ers, 3 for 41, followed by Kyle Juszczyk at 2 for 40.
But Debo's got a rushing touchdown.
He has a rushing touchdown, and he has 4 receptions, so he's the leading reception leader. Ayuk 1 for 14. Jordan Mason, though, 88 yards and a touchdown. Yeah.
They always just go to the guy that's open. Like that's.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of off of him this year as well. So, also, Rodgers just threw an interception. So There you have it. All right, fun, everyone.
I'm not gonna lie that I'm enjoying the downfall of Aaron Rodgers.
That's fun. Tell everyone where they can find you.
So you can find me on Twitter or
I
X.
do have names here somewhere. There we go. Yeah.
There you go. At the Salesman. Excuse me. You can find me on Fantasy Alarm with this week will be, I think, wrapping up the prospect rankings for the final time.
Oh boy.
And then we have NASCAR.
Boom. What a fun race that was yesterday, by the way.
That was an unbelievable race. And
Yeah.
thank you, NBC, for putting Lee Diffie on the call. It's been so much better for the last 2 weeks.
100%.
Phenomenal. Watkins Glen is coming up this weekend if you're interested in following the racing.
Road race in the playoffs, baby.
Yeah. You can find Rouse and I recording EPL podcasts.
Hell yeah, you can.
When there are games. There wasn't last week.
Hell yeah! We'll be back this week.
Tomorrow, but I got a new phone case that has Tottenham in there. It's a wood phone case that's engraved. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we'll be recording that tomorrow, so I'll try to get up tomorrow night.
You and I have a fun game this weekend. We'll be texting.
We're playing each other. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We are
Liverpool, Nottingham, Forest. Good. I've already done a little bit of research for it today, so all more tomorrow. We'll record. We'll put up MondayRants.com, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. And I'm going to be recording Born to Heal with Heavy T this week as well, going over what happened in Bash in Berlin, whatever's going to happen tonight on Raw, which I'll be watching here shortly, and more. Hey, what a wild week one, man. I hope week 2 is a little bit more settled and it's more of we are who we thought they were instead of what the hell are the Bengals doing. Until then,
man, I'm starting to think Joe Burrow's not that guy.
And Tua is? Tua is?
I didn't say Tua. I don't think Tua is.
Yeah, he just has really good receivers around him.
He throws like 4 deep passes a week that gets completed and everybody forgets.
Well, that's because he's lucky enough to have the best deep receiver in the league.
Yeah, I mean, there's that.
That'll work. Waddle had a good game too. I got Yahoo
is the guy.
Yahoo, screw you. I got a text. Waddle out after 2 receptions, and I was like, "Ah, shit."
Yeah, but then later in the game, I saw him.
Literally 5 minutes later, Waddle 20-yard reception. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
goals.
He was over there blocking in the 4th. I'm like, I thought this guy was out.
Yeah. No concussion there.
Also, by the way, Raiders, thanks for putting out a list of inactives that had, or was it? No, it wasn't Raiders. Whoever Foster Moreau plays for was listed as inactive, and then he's out there freaking playing.
Oh, that was the Saints, wasn't it?
I think so. The Saints had him as inactive. I put him as inactive.
Yeah. Foster Moreau goes everywhere Derek Carr goes. They're like really best friends.
Yeah. Well, we all thought Devontae Adams and him were.
Oh, yeah, Saints don't have that money.
I mean, yeah.
Nah. What's the Thursday game? The Bills, right? The Bills are playing.
I think it's the. Is it the Dolphins? Is it the Bills Dolphins?
Is it Bills Dolphins? It's gonna be a good one actually. As last year, the Thursday games were poopy.
I think it's Bills Dolphins.
That's a good one then.
You can double check.
It is Bills Dolphins in Miami. Tyreek Hill, please do not speed on your way to the stadium or get an Uber.
And then roll up the window on the cop as he's asking you to get out of the car.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the video yet. I'm gonna check it out when we end here.
I mean, it's not a great look for the cops, to be honest.
Is it ever?
I mean,
no. I mean, what else can you do? Now Jordan Mason has over 106 rushing yards.
And then we get what? I know the Sunday night game is going to be a good one too.
The Sunday night game.
Yeah, Bears Texans.
We'll see.
We'll see. I think the Texans probably light them up, but
that could be a light up Texans game. Joe Mixon looked really good, by the way. I like
Monday night's going to be atrocious.
Oh, what is it?
Eagles Falcons.
Oh, the Battle of the Birds during the show. It'll be fun. But so next Monday night, everybody, my fellow ranchers, tune into Monday Night Rants as we dissect the Eagles, Falcons. Don't play Kirk Cousins. Heavy T will be back. We'll talk to him about his Falcons while they're playing. That's going to be a lot of fun. If you ever see Heavy T stress out like he does when the Falcons play, it is something to watch. So we'll be able to see that live next week on the show. Matt, The Salesman at the Salesman at all your favorite social media platforms. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, for filling in for Heavy T and doing a really good job with your NFL knowledge and your college football knowledge as well. Good luck to your Kansas State Wildcats, my friend. Until next week, this has been Monday Night Rants. Enjoy the rest of the game, my fellow ranters. A lot of stuff coming out this week on MondayNightRants.com. Make sure you check it out. We will be back next week for week 2 to watch Heavy T sweat as his Falcons are playing the Eagles. As always, shout out to my boy, Taj McGowan. And I'm sorry, Team Pulp Friction. You've been eliminated from the Guillotine League.